Welcome to sunny Italy, everyone. It's famous for many things: delicious food, stunning art, and, apparently, charmingly empty towns. Yes, ghost towns. So many of them, nestled high in the Apennine Mountains, those rugged peaks slicing through the country. They are quite good at keeping secrets. These towns are some of those secrets. Forgotten, quiet, and wonderfully eerie. These aren't your typical tourist spots. No long lines for gelato here. Instead, you get crumbling walls. You find silent, empty streets. Overgrown gardens tell their own tales. It's a different kind of Italian holiday. One with fewer crowds, more cobwebs. Perfect for those who like their history. With a generous side of melancholy. And maybe a touch of tetanus. So grab your sensible shoes and maybe a dust mask. Let's dive into the quiet. So why did everyone leave? It's a good question, isn't it? These towns weren't always empty. People lived here for centuries. They built homes, churches, communities. Then, poof, gone. Mostly. It wasn't usually one single reason, more like a slow, sad goodbye, a gradual emptying out, like a party nobody wanted to stay at. Often it was about money, or the distinct lack of it. Farming in the mountains is tough, jobs were scarce, opportunities scarcer. The modern world beckoned elsewhere. Cities offered factories, offices, excitement, things these little towns couldn't compete with. So, the young folks started leaving, seeking fortunes or just a steady paycheck. Who can blame them, really? Sometimes the earth itself rebelled, but we'll get more into that later. Think earthquakes, landslides, fun stuff, a reminder that progress leaves things behind. Let's talk about Mother Nature. She has quite the temper in Italy, especially around the Apennine Mountains. This area is seismically active. That's a polite way of saying earthquake zone. So you can imagine what happened. Towns built on hillsides. Sometimes those hillsides decided to move, without much warning, of course. Nature loves a dramatic entrance. Earthquakes were a major culprit. A big shake and suddenly home isn't so sweet. Buildings cracked, walls tumbled. Sometimes entire villages were declared unsafe, forcing everyone to pack up and leave their history behind. It's a rather abrupt way to redecorate. One that doesn't involve paint samples. Just a lot of rubble and heartbreak. But hey, it creates ghost towns. So, the town's emptied, becoming silent monuments. And the tools are shovels and prayers. A never-ending DIY project. Let's zoom in on a star Krakow. This place is dramatically beautiful, perched on a very steep hill. It looks like it grew out of the rock, a medieval marvel once upon a time, full of life, churches, and noble families. They probably thought it would last forever. Spoiler alert, it did not. Nature had other plans for Krakow, specifically a rather large landslide. Krakow's troubles began in the 20th century. The hill it so proudly sat on? Well, it started to get a bit unstable. Landslides became a serious problem. The ground literally shifted beneath their feet. Imagine your morning coffee being interrupted by your floor developing a new slant. Eventually, in the 1960s, it was too much. The remaining residents were evacuated. For their own safety, of course. Now, Krakow is utterly deserted by humans. But Krakow found a second life. Not as a vibrant town, oh no, it became a movie star. Section 5. Busana Vecchia, where artists met rubble creatively. Next up, Busana Vecchia. Another tale of nature's firm hand. This Ligurian village had a bad day in 1887. A very powerful earthquake struck. It didn't just rattle the teacups, it pretty much flattened the place. The old town was declared uninhabitable. Survivors moved down the hill. They built Busana Nuova, or New Busana, leaving Busana Vecchia, or Old Busana, to the ghosts. For decades, Busana Vecchia was a ruin, a pile of stones, a memory. Nature started its slow reclamation. Ivy climbed the broken walls. Silence reigned supreme mostly. It was a proper, bona fide ghost town, just waiting for something interesting, or someone brave, or perhaps foolish, to see potential in the piles of rubble. And that's exactly what happened. In the 1960s, artists arrived, a whole community of them from across Europe. They saw beauty in the destruction, or maybe just cheap, unconventional studio space. Section 6. Pentadatilo, the town shaped like a creepy hand. Let's journey south to Calabria, to Pentadatilo, a truly striking sight. The name means 5 fingers because the town is nestled beneath a giant rock formation that looks like a massive hand, or maybe a monster's claw, depending on your imagination and perhaps how much local wine you've had. It's impressively ominous either way. Pentadatilo has a suitably dramatic history, full of noble feuds and bloody legends. One famous story involves a massacre. The Alberti family, Marquises of Pentedatilo, were brutally murdered by a rival baron, all for love and power, the usual suspects. Legend says the rock hand turns red on the anniversary of the slaughter, and that you can hear screams. Charming local folklore, isn't it? Unlike Krakow or Busana Vecchia, Pentedatilo wasn't destroyed suddenly. Its decline was a slow burn. Earthquakes did cause damage over time, making parts of it unsafe, but it was also migration. People left for better lives elsewhere. Section 7. The silent soundtrack. Whispers of what used to be. Step into any of these ghost towns. The first thing you notice is the silence. It's a profound, heavy silence. Not just the absence of traffic noise, but the absence of human life. No children laughing in the piazza, no neighbors chatting over fences, no clatter of pots from kitchens, just the wind perhaps and the creak of a loose shutter. Try to imagine the sounds of the past, the clip-clop of donkeys on cobblestones, the church bells ringing out the hours, the murmur of conversations in the local dialect, market vendors calling out their wares, music drifting from an open window. These streets were once alive, filled with the soundtrack of daily existence. Now, only echoes remain. If you listen very, very carefully, look closer at the abandoned homes. Sometimes you see remnants of lives, a faded photograph on a crumbling wall, a rusty child's toy in a dusty corner, a single shoe left behind in haste. Section 8. Nature's Grand Takeover, when Ivy becomes king. Once humans leave, nature doesn't wait long, it sees an invitation to move back in, and it accepts with great enthusiasm. In these Italian ghost towns, it's a slow siege, but nature always wins in the end. Ivy is often the first to arrive, creeping up stone walls like green fingers exploring every crack and crevice, softening the harsh lines of decay. It's a very persistent houseguest. Then come the wildflowers, bold and bright, pushing up through cracked paving stones, adding splashes of color to the gray. Fig trees sprout from impossible places, their roots prying stones apart as if determined to dismantle the past. Gardens, once neatly tended, run wild, becoming tangled, beautiful jungles. Nature's idea of landscaping is rather dramatic and wonderfully low maintenance for us. Animals also find refuge here. Birds nest in empty window frames. Lizards bask on sun-warmed stones. Stray cats, the unofficial guardians, patrol the silent streets. It's their kingdom now, really. They seem perfectly content with it, probably less demanding than human overlords and certainly less noisy, except for the occasional nighttime serenade. There's a curious beauty in this reclamation, a reminder of the world's resilience. Human structures may crumble and fall, but life finds a way to continue. It's a slow, quiet transformation from human habitat to natural haven. These towns are becoming part of the landscape again, merging back into the mountains. It's all very poetic, in a damp, earthy sort of way, and a bit humbling too. Section 9. The peculiar pull of desolation, why we love these empty spaces. So, what's the big attraction? Why do we seek out these places, these monuments to abandonment and decay? It's a bit strange, isn't it? In a world obsessed with newness and constant connection and selfies, we travel to see emptiness, to experience profound silence. Perhaps we crave a little melancholy or just a good moody photo opportunity. There's an undeniable romance to ruins. They speak of history, of stories untold. They spark our imagination. Who lived here? What were their lives like? Why did they have to leave it all? It's like stepping into a history book, but one where the pages are crumbling, and the ink is faded and smudged. It makes the past feel more tangible, more real somehow in its absence. These towns are also a stark contrast to our fast-paced modern lives. They offer a moment of pause, a chance to reflect on impermanence, on what we build and what we leave behind. Modernization made these towns obsolete. The very progress that improved lives elsewhere sealed the fate of these communities. There's a powerful irony in that, one that's hard to ignore. So yes, Italy's ghost towns are eerie. They can be a bit sad, a bit unsettling, but they are also incredibly beautiful, in their own unique, decaying way. They offer a different kind of travel experience, one that's quiet, thoughtful, and memorable. A journey into the heart of what was, and a reminder that even in abandonment, there is a strange, captivating charm. Just don't expect room service.